Okay, I think we are live. Hello, everyone. My Wi-Fi seems a little slow today or glitchy. I think it's the wind. I don't know. But we are live, so hopefully it will stay connected for us. Let me know where you're watching from when you connect. And today I'm doing something to help us all, something to help us make meals quicker, easier, especially as it's starting to get a little more like hectic, stressful for everyone, especially moms getting ready for the holidays. You know what I mean, right? It's getting worked up, intense, busy, and especially if you're preparing for Thanksgiving. Let me know, are you celebrating Thanksgiving this week in a couple of days, and are you really feeling some overwhelm with preparations? Maybe it's not so bad this year because people are staying to their own family units for the most part. But let me know, are you preparing? Are you busy? Are you getting ready for the holidays? Today, I'm going to show you how to take a simple but wholesome prepared soup that you would find at any of your stores. Some are definitely a little better than others, and I'll talk about that, but how to really make it a full meal. And I do this really often for our family because a lot of these prepared soups, as you know, you open them up, there's not much in there, right? It's mostly broth and like a scattering of veggies and a little bit of beans or grains or whatever might be in there, but it's mostly broth. And for me, I want a soup to be really hearty and filling and fill up those bellies because they are hungry. They're growing and hungry and active, right? So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, I did a post quite a few years ago about this, and I have the link in the description. So if you want to link over and read more, go ahead. But this is really a how-to, okay? Not a recipe. I do have one recipe to show you today, though. It's something really yummy. It involves chocolate, of course. Hi, Cheryl. Where are you watching from? And are you getting ready for Thanksgiving? If you're just joining, I'm going to show you something really quick today. But chime in. Let me know where you're watching from, what you're doing. Are you getting ready for the holidays? Or like, in Canada, we had Thanksgiving back in October. So I'm just kind of, cruising along. I do find it's busier though, right? We pick up on what's happening. We pick up on the energy and the Black Friday sales and everything going on. So it makes our energy higher and we kind of get involved, right? It's human nature. So before I get involved with the soup, or start the soup, this is my super clustery chocolate granola. And I made this the other day. I made a double batch. And many of you already have this little recipe booklet. It's my Plant Powered Snacks ebook. And this recipe is in there, and it's an oil-free granola, and you can make it nut-free as well. So, so great with the camera. I'm always just cruising along. Where's the best angle? Ooh, got it. And I made this the other day. So I had a blood test done because I've been having some inflammation in areas in my joints, and my naturopath said, you know what, I think you're getting triggered by some foods in your diet. So I had it done, and a couple of strange foods came up, like mustard seeds, and yeast came up, which I don't eat a lot of bread, so it's not a huge thing, but yeast came up, which I think is common for a lot of people. Mustard seeds, peas, which I love peas. Red kidney beans, a little mild, Brazil nuts really high, anyhow, and sunflower seeds, which I've been using a lot more sunflower seeds lately to make nut-free recipes. Hi Lou, watching from England. Hey Jamie from Newfoundland. I'm originally from Newfoundland in St. John's. Where are you in Newfoundland? And is it snowing there? Today feels like Newfoundland outside, Jamie, because I went out and it was so windy and damp, and I was like, whoa. And from Idaho, Cheryl, yes, getting ready for Thanksgiving, staying home. Yeah, there's something nice and cozy about that. I'm actually really looking forward to the kids getting off of school and just kind of staying and hanging out now. And Aixa, am I pronouncing that properly? Or Asia? You'll have to let me know. From Pennsylvania, and thank you. You're welcome. So this chocolate granola, I made this one nut-free, and I used pumpkin seeds in it. So I'm finding ways to work around some of my little food, issues. Oh, and corn came up. which corn, you know, when you think about it, it's in a lot of things. So it's only temporary, not a big deal. But this is so yummy. Look how clustery it is. Look at that. Really clustery. So a lot of you already have my snacks ebook. If you don't, I put it in the description. And also later this week, there will be a big promo coming up with Black Friday. So if you're on my newsletter, you'll get that. If not, you can sign up for my newsletter. I should add that link for you too. I don't think it's there, but you can go to my site and sign up. Anyhow, I made a double batch of that and it's almost gone. Family, right? So let's get to cooking. So in your stores, when you go to stores, you usually can find a fresher type of prepared soup. So canned soups will work fine for this too, like a canned soup or a box soup. But I'm going with, I know I brought it out. Where'd you put it, Dreena? Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Hang on, guys. I got it here. Here it is. And yes, I do talk to myself in the kitchen all the time. So I picked up this one yesterday from our local store. Jamie says, oh, hi again. Lots of rain, yeah. Your grandmother is besties with my mom. What? Oh my gosh. Well, say hello to your grandmother, and that's really cool. I won't ask you her name. I think I know who it is. I know who the bestie is. That's very sweet. Okay, so this is a Moroccan vegetable soup. So this company does a line of soups, and a lot of them I've noticed are vegan. They don't all say vegan on the label. They have a couple that they have vegan on the label, and I'm not sure why they don't have it on all of them, because I've scoured the ingredients and it's fully vegan. But it's a nice size soup, right? But if you look at it, I mean, it's not bad. It's actually got more consistency than some prepared soups, but I'm gonna bulk it up. And I've done the same with the soups that kind of come in those aseptic, what is that? That's not the word. Like the little plastic bags in the deli section, and you can find those that are vegan too. So when you open those, again, a lot of broth, right? So let's chunk it up, boost it up. So a couple of things I'm using today. So this is a Moroccan seasoned soup, and I know what those seasonings are and those flavorings. I love Moroccan flavors. And I actually have a recipe for Moroccan bean soup in Let Them Eat Vegan. This one. And there's the recipe. I don't want to do all that chopping tonight. And my arms are kind of sore from a lot of work I've been doing. So I'm going to do minimal chopping today and still make it taste great. Okay, so we're lowering this down. Get some things out of the camera view. So I'm going to start with a couple of zucchinis. These are on their way out. Like they're starting to get a little sad looking, so I want to use them up. And I'm just going to chop them into some chunks. Gonna do maybe, not chunky, but like a little, kind of like a dice. So I usually quarter it down the length and then chop. And this cutting board, by the way, I've talked about this one before. It's my favorite. I've had it for about 10 years. I have it in my current gift guide that's on my site. I have a new gift guide on my site this year, and I have this one listed. It's by Epicurean, and honestly, guys, it's a really nice size. Like I have a bigger one than this, and I find it too big. It's like this big. It's too big. This is nice and handy. It doesn't hold smells. It doesn't smell like onion or garlic, no matter how many times I've chopped on it. And I'm not paid by them. I'm just telling you, this is a really nice cutting board, and it's like eco-friendly and all this, you know, good jazz. But functionally, it's fabulous. And you pop it in the washer. It comes out without any smells, and so you can use it for fruit, but also onion and garlic, not at the same time, but you know what I mean. And it's fabulous. So just a shout out to that cutting board. And if you go to my site, it's there in the gift guide, and you can find it real easy. So I'm just going to trim off that spot because that doesn't look too happy. My cat is going to start calling out at me again. He's hilarious. Every time I do a video, he comes in to tell me how unhappy he is with his life. Because I was going to say it's nice out, but it's not nice, but he just wants to go get outside. think he just jumped in his chair, so he may be leaving me alone. Okay, and I've got some fennel here. Now, fennel is a funny little vegetable, and a lot of you may have not used it. I don't use it often. I used to use it a ton when I was writing Let the Meat Vegan. I just got into this huge fennel kick. It has this anise flavor, anise smell. So anise is like licorice, but even if you don't like black licorice, don't get turned off by the sight or sound of this. When it's raw like this, it's very strong tasting in that anise flavor, but you can like sliver it, almost shave it for salads, and it's quite nice in a small amount. But when you saute it, it softens down really beautifully. And that's how I like to use it the most, is to roast it or saute it down. So that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to trim off some of these. I mean, it's kind of cute though, right? It almost looks like a little face. You could draw a little face and ears. So cute. Play with your food, guys. So we're going to trim off the stalks. And you'll notice, so the stalks are kind of, this also, fennel is a little on its way out, so that's why I'm also making use of it today. They're a little porous, so I don't use the stalk. I find that doesn't, I don't know, it's just not the most appetizing. But the fronds that are on the fennel, see that? You can easily use those for garnish and for like a herb, like fresh thyme or parsley, and it has that flavor, see? So you could keep that if you want and use it like to garnish the soup or for something else. So now we've got the bulb, and we're gonna get this core out, which is really, really hard, kind of like when you trim cabbage or even cauliflower and you've got that core. So we're gonna, there it is, cut through the side. So I'm gonna cut that out and remove it, because again, that piece is kind of gnarly. How about that? So then we have this. Now I'm trimming this a bit more because, as I said, my fennel was a little over its due date. It wasn't the freshest. In fact, I'm taking all that piece away because I'm looking at it. It's not that fresh. Yeah, so that side was not the best. So now I'm going to chop that, what we have left. So, you know, I've lost a little bit of the fennel, but that's okay. And as soon as you chop it, you can smell that anise aroma coming through. Which, if you love licorice, which my mom loves licorice, and Mom's Bestie would know that if you're still watching, Bestie's granddaughter, I think you know that. Yeah, so, and this side, same thing. The very outer layer was just not super fresh, so remove that. So again, it's gonna smell a lot like licorice, and you might go, holy smokes, I'm not gonna like this, but when you saute it down, it's really lovely, and the consistency becomes more like, let me see. When you saute it down, it gets nice and soft, kind of like a cooked red pepper in a soup maybe, or possibly cooked celery. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my pan started to heat up, get some heat in the pan, and then I'm gonna show you what we're doing. I'm also gonna add a little carrot. So some other things you could add to this would be red pepper would be really nice. I'm not going to add red pepper today, but red pepper would be great. You could also add some chopped squash or sweet potato. You could do some cauliflower, diced or just florets, and anything really, right? Anything you like, but these flavor combinations go nicely with what's in the soup. I'm going to saute this first because these are harder than the zucchini. And really, this is so easy. You could even just chuck this in the pot. Chuck this in the pot. Get this softened, then add the zucchini. It'll take a few more minutes and not even saute, right? I'm sauteing this to add a little more flavor to it, but you don't have to, right? And you could totally skip this step. What I am going to do to saute, because I'm not using oil, there's my pan. I've just heated it up a little bit. I don't have a camera over my stove. I'm adding a splash of balsamic, which I like to use. Ooh, it's already smoking up there and smelling good, I like to add a tiny bit for saute sometimes, not all the time. It's kind of like when people say, oh, you're cooking baking oil free, just use applesauce. No, no, no. Applesauce is not what you want to use all the time. So I'm going to get that back on the stove and add a pinch of salt. And the salt will help. So I can't really bring my computer over to the stove, guys, because it starts cutting out on Wi-Fi and getting mad at me. So I'll bring it back and forth. So the salt will help to release the juices out of the veggies and soften them down. So I have it on like a medium-high heat. And I'm gonna let that soften down and then talk more about what I'm doing here. And hi, Diane from Arizona. You joined me the other day, I think, Diane, because I was lamenting about how much I'd love to be in Arizona in the heat. My body seems to want to be in the heat. That's all I can say. And so I've just rinsed a can of black beans, and I'm going to also add this to the soup. I will say this company also has an Egyptian lentil one, and that's really nice. It's more like of a curry coconut flavor, and I've done a spin on that one, adding some prepared cut veggies as well. So maybe I'll do another video with that one if you like this, guys, and show you what I do with that. Just find the brands in your area, because this is definitely a local brand. I know I've seen some other things from them, so you have to find what's in your area, right? If not, then you could always use a box soup. What are the brands? I think Imagine. If any of you know of some good brands of boxed soups or canned soups, sometimes I find canned doesn't taste as fresh, but you know, hey, in a pinch it works great. But if any of you know of some other options like that, add them in the chat for people, and that's a great way for people to know brands. So I'm also going to add some beans to this, and I'm going to see how thick it is when I open it. If I feel it could use a bit more, I might add some chickpeas as well. Chickpeas are already in the stew, so I find sometimes it's nice to mix and match, add a bit of both types of beans. It kind of makes it a little more interesting, right? And then tonight I'm going to pair this with some rice. Now, this is my sneaky tip for rice. My kids have become huge, huge fans of jasmine rice, which is fine. It's not, you know, unhealthy to eat jasmine rice. It's more refined, it's white rice, and they want to eat it all the time. Like, forget brown rice now. We just want jasmine rice. They're spoiled. So, what I do is I take, okay, this is starting to saute up. Hang on. I'll be back. I'm going to try to show this to you guys. You can see what the balsamic is doing. It's helping to caramelize and bring out more flavor in the veggies. Can you see that? Yeah, and it smells good. You can smell the fennel softening down. I'm going to get that back on. And if it starts to stick a lot, you just add a splash of water, right? Just a little drop of water. And it'll start doing its thing again. Okay, where was I? Oh, the rice. So, we bought a huge bag of this brown rice. This is what I do. This is long grain, and we also have short grain, but this is a small bag, so there's not much there. But the short grain works best because it's the same texture almost as jasmine. It's a little more sticky. So what I'm going to do, to get to the point of that story, is I'm going to start to cook the rice using just brown rice. I measure up about, say, 2 cups of brown rice, get it in the pot with the equivalent water it needs. So for 2 cups of rice, it will be 4 cups of water. Bring it to a boil. Let it come to a boil, bring it down to simmer, cover, cook for about 20 minutes. Brown rice takes about 40 minutes to cook, 45 minutes, 35, 40 minutes to cook for brown rice. Jasmine rice takes only about 20 minutes. So after 20 minutes with the brown rice, then I'm going to add some jasmine rice, stir it through, add another few cups of water. Usually I do equal parts of jasmine and brown rice. And then it cooks up, and it's like, it kind of is like jasmine rice to them, but it's got some of the goodness of brown rice in it too. So Again, you know, there's nothing wrong with eating jasmine rice, but if you want to get more whole grains into your kids, that's a little tip, sneaky mama tip. Because I think too, the texture of jasmine rice is partially what they like. It's the flavor and the texture. It's kind of like sticky, right? It's almost like a sushi rice, and my kids love sushi rice, and they love that idea. But also, short grain brown rice is very sticky. So if you're used to cooking long grain brown rice, give short grain brown rice a try because it's stickier and smaller grains. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the soup. Okay. All right, do you see that coming down now, guys? Yeah? And so now I'm gonna add the zooks. Now you can see already, and this is a small pot because I'm using my big one for rice, so I had to use my smaller one today. Already how many veggies are in there? So you're getting your veg into your meal. And this time of year, because, oh, really interesting. Lou mentions that in the UK, brown rice takes about 20 minutes. That is perplexing me. I've never been able to cook it for less than 35 minutes. That's bizarre. I wonder if it's a particular brand. Is it a quick cooking? I'm not sure. But that's very interesting to me, yeah. Brown basmati rice and brown long grain rice usually takes a little bit longer, about close to 40, but I find short grain about 35. Huh, peculiar. So what was I talking about? The veg and the soup. I've lost my train of thought. I'll come back to it. Okay, and so we're gonna, oh, the veg. So this time of year, like in the summer, I make a lot of salads, and then this time of year, you guys, you notice, right, the fresh produce that's vegetables you tend to eat raw, cucumber, lettuces, they become more expensive, they become a little less great in quality. The organic, forget it, is so expensive. A head of organic romaine here is about $5 for one romaine, and it's just a little guy. So what I find I need to do in the fall and winter is really chop up cooked dishes with some veg like this. And I'll give you one more tip before you serve it to get just a little more into there. So I'm going to get the soup into the pot now. And this is actually a pretty thick soup. Look at that. So this is the bottom, and this is actually a really hearty soup. So I'm really impressed with this because I have bought other soups similar to this, and there's rarely any chunky chickpeas in there or any consistency. So this is a good one. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to add a little bit of water, tiny bit of water to thin it out, given that I have so much veg in there, and I still want to add some black beans. And I might add a little extra lime juice. Lime juice tastes nice in that Moroccan seasoning. I might add a tiny bit of veggie stock, but I think I'm just going to go with water, maybe a little bit of tomato paste if I want to deepen the flavor a little, and bring it all together. Okay, I'm going to add a bit of water now. So this is going to need to cook. And I'm going to get that going and then show you in a minute, guys. I want to actually get the zucchini to soften down. That's going to need to cook maybe about 10 minutes to just soften the zucchini, right? And you could cook it less. I mean, you don't always have to cook the heck out of veggies, right? If you want a little bit of bite to your zucchini, then cook it a little less. The vegetables like the fennel and carrot, you do want to cook those more because they're just too hard to eat in a soup, not fully cooked through, right? But you could do something like red pepper or zucchini with a little less cooking to it. Then, before you serve it, this is another thing I love to do, is pull out some spinach from the fridge or some chard or kale. Chop it up and just, well, spinach you don't even really need to chop it. If it's baby spinach, just throw the leaves in, and just before serving, I stir it through and then serve. Those greens do not need to be cooked very long at all. Like spinach will wilt down in less than a minute in a hot soup. Kale and collards, maybe a minute and a half. But as soon as it goes bright green, like you see that bright green color pop up, then get it in the bowl and eat it, enjoy it. Of course, if the grains go a little bit off, no big deal. But it's just, you don't even have to cook them down. Just stir them in before serving. So what I tend to do with a meal like this, here's our bowl. I've got the rice cooked, which I clearly don't have cooked right now, but I have the rice cooked and the soup ready, and it's on the stove, right? So I'm doing it now, and it's only 11:40 here. We have a busy night tonight with activities, swim club, that kind of thing. So when it gets close to dinner, the rice will still be warm. All I will need to do is reheat the soup a little bit, maybe 5 minutes reheating it. So then I serve up the soup next to the rice. I tend to put like rice in one side of the bowl, and then like a little pocket of rice on one side, and then I fill up that little cavity on the other side with the soup. And you can add the greens to before you serve, pop the soup in. And then my kids tend to love to just put like a little tamari on the rice, or maybe some avocado on top. Of course, avocado seems to go with everything in this family. I'm not sure there's anything they haven't tried it with, maybe cereal. And it's a nice little individualized way of having it. And that way the grains are kind of separate. You can mix them in if you want. But generally my kids like to have, and I do too, the rice on one side, you could squeeze some citrus on it, a little tamari, and then the soup on the other, right? So it's a really nice quick meal. Plus, this way, this amount of soup I'm making, I may even get a little bit of leftover to use for lunch tomorrow. Like I could have it for lunch, my husband for lunch, because he's working from home now. And the rice, make enough so you have leftovers. Don't just make enough for this meal. Batch it up, make a double, triple amount, so then you can have it for use in another meal, another day, right? Plus our kids love to eat rice just straight up in the afternoon with like tamari, tomatoes, that kind of thing, avocados. Okay, I'm gonna let the soup cook another minute or so and just see if there's any questions. Oh, okay. Lou is saying that about the rice, it's not quick cooking, it's brown basmati. I need some UK rice, I think. Make meals a little quicker. Guys, you have any questions about all this or about Thanksgiving recipes? I have a whole bunch of recipes on my site, of course, and I've been posting them on my page to kind of remind people if they want to do this pumpkin pie or the chocolate pumpkin pie. The chocolate pumpkin pie is really easy, and it's a nice change from standard, of course. I have some pumpkin custards. I've got an apple pie on my site. I've got a bundt cake, all kinds of things. Carrot cake. It's actually a carrot mango cake. It's not really as much a Thanksgiving thing, but sometimes we want something different, right? Yeah, so we aren't doing Thanksgiving, obviously. We did it in October, so it's just like couple of quick meals. But I've been finding this time of year really busy. I do a lot of work this time of year, so I need meals like this. So hopefully this has given you some ideas of how to pull together, you know, take something store-bought that maybe could feed 3 or 4 people, or possibly even 2 people, like a canned soup, and make it fit for your family, make it work. I'm going to pull the soup off the stove. Okay, so it definitely needs more cooking time, but I just want to show you what we have now. Yeah. All right, so have a look. Now, doesn't that look good? And it looks like a homemade soup, right? Look at all the veggies in there. I'm going to add some of the black beans. I don't think we need all of them, but it will add nice color too. And then I can use the black beans for something else, stir it into salsa or something. Now, check that out, right? Now, doesn't that look like something you cooked from scratch? And this could easily feed like, well, in my family, it'll feed 5 of us. I'm not going to say it'll feed more than that. But with rice, it can definitely feed more. And if you add more beans, it will. So again, this will cook down more, the zooks will cook down more, and then you can always add in the extra greens before you serve, all right? And it smells great. I have to say I'm really impressed with this brand and the amount of good veg in there and the smell. It's a nice one, yeah. So that's it for today, guys, and I will, let me see, well, Thursday's Thanksgiving, so maybe I'll do something on the weekend. I'm in this yoga training, Kundalini yoga training, so I'm pretty busy with that, but maybe I'll do something on the weekend. And yeah, stay tuned for some awesome promos at the end of the week, and have a beautiful Thanksgiving. Like, don't stress, right? If there's any time that we can kick back a bit and take the pressure off ourselves, it's this year. So I always say, Martha ain't coming to dinner. I'm not worrying about the place settings, how fancy or fussy that looks. Just enjoy the food. And don't put too much pressure to make it all from scratch. You can pick some things up. But I hope you have a beautiful, compassionate Plantsgiving, we like to call it sometimes. And I will see you soon for another video, okay? Any questions you can always ask afterwards in the chat as well. Okay, sending you blessings, everyone. Bye.